Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Saturday, April 10th, quarter number 2 of 2021 is in the books. I am Aaron Phillips, sitting in my Hall of Fame chair. My partner, Mr. Brett Lawson, who would love to have a Hall of Fame chair right now, is sitting in the garden chair.
I'm just happy to be back, man. Good to see you. Did you miss me last week?
You know what? I did. I got to tell you, I got to give you props.
Thank you.
Great job out there. Seriously.
I appreciate that.
Really, listen, that environment when you're trying to get guests,
right.
and, it's very difficult if you don't have a dedicated stage manager. What do you call that?
It's a production, right?
And I know my wife was out there. She helped a little bit. Andy, of course, was helping. But once we got the technical issues out of the way, dude, it was a home run. So great job out there.
You made it that much easier laying it out for me. I mean, just what you were able to do facilitating and steering the ship from the studio helped so much. And I think even aside from some of the difficulties and some of that, confusion we had, boy, was it effective when it was all said and done, because we really were able to accomplish what we set out to do. And we got some great interviews with some members and some sponsors and pretty much just everybody who's already a part of our family. It was a very successful day from that standpoint.
Absolutely. It certainly was. And, of course, what we're alluding to is the fact that last week, 4321 was the official launch of the Fan Action Nation, Fan Independence Day. The revolution is underway. It has been underway. It is now official. It is out there. JoinTheFan.com. Become a member. If you want a platform to hear your concerns, to air your concerns beyond simply a 15-second phone call into a sports show nationally and all the normal stuff, JoinTheFan.com gives you that opportunity to have your voice heard right now. And we're going to make this quick for this point. Join the Fan right now, $59.99, one-time membership. If you're not sure and you want to dip your pool into the short end of the pool, $19.99 a month for the Rebel membership for an annual passport. But look at this. You get discounts of 15% as a Rebel, 10%. Not as a Rebel, 15% as a Visionary, 10% as a Rebel. So plus all the great stuff coming down the pike. There's a golf carnival, the big convention next year, all sorts of stuff going on, and, of course, great partners that are part of Join the Fan. Now, real quickly, I got to talk about Go Live Vegas.
Yeah.
Our home.
Yes.
Okay? The great folks here. First of all, do you like 80s music? How old were you during the 80s music? Because that's my music.
I was non-existent, actually. However,
don't tell me that.
I know. Right?
What year were you born?
93.
93.
Is that crushing to the soul or what?
It is so crushing to the soul.
Yeah. But I dabbled. I've immersed myself.
I want to feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Cisco, how old are you? How much?
50.
Oh, so okay. I feel better.
There you go.
I have a contemporary here.
Cisco. You made him feel a little bit better. Now I don't have to. Yeah, I don't feel guilty.
I just also teased who our guest is, by the way, Cisco.
And we're looking forward to having him on.
Absolutely, he's the president, the president of the Las Vegas chapter of the Black Hole, the Raider fans. So we'll get to Cisco. Cisco will join us at the dais after our first break to join in our conversation. But anyway, do you like 80s music?
I do.
Anyway,
yeah, I've immersed myself enough, and I've kind of retroactively caught up, if you will, to immerse myself to know what I need to know.
Anything you say right now is not going to get you out of the hole.
Oh, absolutely not. Excuse me for not existing, right? Yeah.
So anyway, if you go to GoLive.Vegas, the website, totally redone, absolutely love it. The music, which at one time was all over, courtesy of Raquel, who is, of course, Aaron's better half. She was, I guess she's also like, the official music director now, programming director? Yeah. All 80s, all the music. I heard Hulk Hogan. I heard a Hulk
Real
Hogan
American?
drop. No, not the song.
Okay.
But like that. What you got? Just like the 15
Okay, like a little soundbite.
I'll tell you what, it was terrific. But anyway, 80s music is available, but more importantly, if you click the shows tab at the top, which I will click on, hopefully we'll get it going there. All the shows that are here at the network are visible, along with the fact that you see them in a nice little layout. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this page. Look who's in the middle of page number 1. So
Smack dab in the center.
Click Rise of the Fan, which, by the way, if Aaron didn't already tell you, I'll say it anyway online. He needs a bio from you and a good headshot. Because I'll show you why. If you look at your screen, not only does it show the title of the show and the time and the day that we are on, but check this out. Look, there you are. You're even on the website from last week.
Excellent.
Little screenshot of who we are, but check this out down at the bottom. Rise of the Fan Crew. Now, I'm already on here because I have half the shows that are on the network.
I'm going to join in on the fun. This is awesome.
So you got to send in a shot and a bio so that Aaron can put you on here with us. And, this is terrific. Aaron and his wife have absolutely redone all of our links. Look at this on the page, too, on Go Live, where we can be heard, seen, all available right there. And look at this little red heart at the bottom. If you love us, you love the page, if you just click that little red heart, look at that. You get a little red heart like a like. Another place to find us, all the places. We're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe there. and enjoy right here, this little thing in the upper left-hand corner. Check that out.
We are moving up.
That's where you can listen live. All right, of course, download the mobile app as well. Go Live Vegas. Okay, a lot going on in the world of sports. You said it to me in a text yesterday.
Yeah.
This is a great time to be a sports fan in the month of April.
It may be as good as any month. And I know there's several. I personally like September with the baseball playoffs. Football really getting going. College football's kind of underway. The NFL gets going in September. Obviously, you're gearing up for hockey and baseball, so there's a lot of anticipation. October is actually probably better than September as far as the events taking place, but just that overall buzz kind of carries over. So that September-October period. Outside of that, you probably look at June because so many of the sports in that season come to a head with the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup. You have a lot of golf going on in terms of the major championships. So all of those, I guess you could say, from a seasonal standpoint, all those work. It's hard to beat April, though, man, with everything we have going from the tournament, right, kicking things off because that could bleeds from March into April.
Absolutely.
We have WrestleMania this weekend.
Yes, we do.
We have the Masters.
Yes, we do.
It culminates with the draft. We just had
the football draft, but
the NFL
also
draft, and also the WNBA draft, which is huge.
Right.
And we also kind of have the aftermath of what we had in the free agency of NFL NBA. So we have the ramifications of that, and we have baseball underway now.
All in April.
All in April. It's awesome.
This is a great month.
And it's perfect because when we launched this project, it was at a time when the sports world was a little dormant.
Yes.
And it was a little bit harder, not necessarily for us to gain traction, but for us to kind of really emphasize something to the people, something to our audience that they could relate to, and something sports related that will resonate with them. Now it's not that hard because, again, we have a full platter of sports content and sporting events that either are extremely relevant or important or just getting going to where now you could finally see what you got in terms of baseball and some of these other sports that are just underway now.
Absolutely, and that's all great stuff. But then you have stuff like the Deshaun Watson situation,
exactly.
and we'll get into that in a little bit.
And that brings it back down to earth a little bit with the optimism, right?
And big news this past week, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game has been pulled from Atlanta, Georgia, because of the political stuff. We'll get into that as well as the fact that you had the Masters going on at the same time, which also and also had their issues in the past as well.
Yeah.
So you've got these two events kind of colliding against each other. We're going to talk about the impact on that as well. So we have a lot to go on. I just want to give a couple of shout outs to folks in the chat room. Our good buddy Jacob Walters is out there. Check out his stuff on Facebook. Also, too, he has written and will continue to write for the Fan as well. Dear family friend, Rita Tifford from Linden, New Jersey, where I grew up. Our family friend, she's watching. And, of course, what would a podcast show be without the great Lisa Mascari from Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa not being in the chat room and supporting us?
I was nearly starstruck last week when I finally got to meet her in person, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. Like goosebumps.
Why nearly?
Wow. Okay. Way to set me up for that one.
You said it.
I was blown away. I had chills. I could barely stand. I nearly dropped the microphone and fainted on camera. There you go, Lisa. Is that better?
By the way, have you had an opportunity to go down there and check
No,
out?
but I have talked to her about it. So it is coming in the near future.
And
I can't wait to actually give my review, which I already know is going to be unanimously positive because I'm a sucker for a good massage like anybody should be.
Let's also clarify, we're talking about the professional massage.
Absolutely. And that's why I was hoping you would kind of go with that in terms of the clarification.
Exactly.
So thank you, partner. But no doubt. I mean, they're legitimate. We got to talk to her and Jason. I love the passion.
Yes.
It's all about community with them. So it immediately runs in line with our whole mission statement, our philosophy. And even though it's not immediately on the surface tied to the sports fan, we found out just by talking to them, well, really just by talking to them week after week, but really in that interview last week, we found out how they want to connect into that market and tap into that crowd that we represent here at the Fan.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask our producer to go back to the laptop for a second because you made a comment in your comments here about, Lisa, what we're all about.
Right.
And one of the things that I get asked about, well, what is the Fan all about? So if you go to jointhefan.com and click on the About Us page, right here at the top of the page, you'll see the Fan stands for the one and only exclusive community. Fan, founded by sports fans. That's key, folks, for the benefit of sports fans. Action, acting on behalf of the special interests of sports fans and, of course, Nation with citizenship and a passport to power for our fandom. That's what we're about. We are about an opportunity where we as fans now will have a voice our concerns legitimately to the powers that be within our sports industry, headed by Andy Coppell, the founder, and his folks that will take our concerns as fans to the next level.
Absolutely. And I love how we're in that point now where we could start clarifying a little bit easier because now we kind of have a platform to stand on. All all this time, I guess you could say, we have been building. That is why we are called Rise of the Fan. And sure,
Absolutely.
we are still rising. We are still growing. We're not at that peak yet. We're not even close. But at least
Absolutely.
now we kind of have a little bit more of some stable footing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
We have a little bit more of a foundation.
foundation, right.
And now it's going to be easier to promote what we offer to the table and what makes us different and what we bring to I guess you could say, an avenue that is previously untapped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Finally, the fan's voice will be heard in terms of sports. And as Andy has always said from the beginning, giving us a seat at the table,
Yeah.
which has been very important for us. A lot of things going on in the world of sports that we're going to get into. So what I'd like to do, we're a little early, which is great because it'll give us more time to chat with Cisco Ortega. He will join us on the other side of the break to chime in with us with our conversation, and we'll talk about him, the black hole, and all that stuff. And as a fan of the Raiders, how the move may affect him, things like that as a fan that he wants to see from his beloved Raiders. So with that, you are watching Rise of the Fan. That's Brett. I'm Aaron. We'd love to hear from you live. Give us a call, 702-329-6947, but just not during commercial break. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Get ready to kick off with Football Darts. Football Darts is the revolutionary new game that lets you play the game of football on a dartboard. Anything you can do in a real game, you can do with Football Darts. Kickoff, throw or run for yardage, kick field goals, even turnovers. Football Darts is the perfect game for football fans. Play at tailgates, at home, at work, even remotely. Find your team at footballdarts.com or online at your favorite store. It's almost like being in the action at the stadium. Get ready to kick off with Football Darts.
When you think of relaxation, do you think of a massage? If not, you should. Las Vegas Hand and Stone Massage at Silverado Ranch provides professional spa experiences at affordable rates. You will be enveloped in soothing sounds and aromas on your way to total relaxation. De-stress with our full-body massage to relieve tension, soothe tired muscles, and temper migraines. You can select from many options, including CBD, deep tissue, sports, and our signature hot stone massage. Call 702-941-7833 and start de-stressing today.
All right, welcome back to Rise of the Fan. Before we get to our guest, Mr. Brett has a message from another partner.
Yes, sir. Well, wouldn't it be awesome to never spill a drink again? We thought so too. That's why we developed the non-tipping magnetic Squid Cup system. It creates a cup holder when you need it using the power and simplicity of dual magnets and micro suction cups. Whether you are on the water or the road, too few or too shallow cup holders will never be a problem again. The Squid Cup system features a 16-ounce double-wall insulated tumbler and an insulating 12-ounce can cooler. You can visit squidcup.com to order. As we got a little of the sound effects in the background there from that suction. I like it.
It's the metal base, because I love the koozie cup. I mean, it keeps my water warm throughout the day. And I realize
Keeps the water warm.
Yeah, no, it keeps it cold.
That's not what you said, though.
Is not what I not say?
That's revenge for you taking a shot at my age.
No, you know what?
That's revenge for you taking
That's
a shot at
because
my
I
age.
was
You're
testing if you were
slipping.
listening with those young ears. But
Fair.
it wasn't 2
Good
weeks
rebound.
ago. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's,
right.
that's why I'm a professional.
There you go. I got a lot to learn.
2 weeks ago, I realized at the bottom of these things with the magnets
Yeah.
separate. This is a magnet in here. By the way, Cisco Ortega, who's the president of the Las Vegas chapter of the Black Hole, the Raiders Nation, joins us. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
So you see when you're a simpleton like I am, how just the simplest things in life.
Oh, yeah.
And what I realized is I pulled it apart before, as you were finishing it. There's got to be a game that we could play with just the bottom of the Squid Cup.
Just throw it to the wall.
Something, right?
To the
Well,
wall,
you have
something.
magnet darts, right? You had the magnet dart.
They'd actually probably appreciate that. We're proving the efficiency of their product.
You can get a
the
2-for-1
science.
option here with these
Yeah.
cups. Now, you don't have it with the tumbler. You have the tumbler over there. That's
Right.
a straight up tumbler. But I'm
It's the
sitting here
big boy. It's
thinking,
the
that,
beast.
magnetic darts. Something you got to do with Squid Cups. You need to develop a game for these things.
Aaron,
Make it-
let's get a board in the studio or something.
Geez, something. A little
Yeah.
metal. I could throw it at Aaron's head, but it won't stick.
We could try. He said it might. We could try it out.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. All right, let's get to it. Thank you, everybody, for watching in the chat room, 702-329-6947. Cisco Ortega, he is the man locally. He is the president of the Black Hole Club here in Vegas, and we'll get to the development and birth of all of that momentarily. Welcome to the show, man.
No, thanks for having me, guys. It's,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Studio's awesome, man.
You like this, huh?
Digging it.
Now, you
Yeah.
watch us online,
Yeah.
so this is a little different seeing it now behind
Exactly.
the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Little
Yeah.
homie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
It's cozy.
Koozie. Anyway.
Yeah, right, there you go. Well done.
Not to interrupt the show, but
We interrupt ourselves
there is
all the
no-
time.
There is
Don't
no
worry about it.
interruption. Don't worry. We don't have a plan.
I do that all the time. The mistake that you did, we say, "Oh, I keep it warm." I I say that.
Well,
all the time.
and when
I
they
don't know.
because we have so much technology that does both with like the hydro flask and the insulating, and whether it keeps the coffee warm or the water cold, it's you lose
I
track.
do. I have one of those steel 40-ounce things that I use when I work out. So, and it says it could keep things hot, keep things cold. I use it for cold.
Yeah.
But you're right. It can be very. Listen, you know what's confusing? I do 3 shows here back to back to back every Saturday, which is great.
Yeah.
But invariably, I introduce the show by the wrong name because of all the different. I did that at the tail end of Thoughts Count Anywhere, where I mentioned so and so and Twin Brothers, and the guys looked at me and said, "Try Thoughts Count Anywhere."
You never sleep. You don't have an off switch.
I don't.
You don't have an off switch.
I don't. So it does get jumbled in the
There
brain
you go.
a little bit. Anyway,
But hey, we're good now. Cisco's joining us, and
Absolutely.
yeah. And Cisco, so much about and starting it off here. I just have a question for you, and we'll have multiple things to talk about here.
Speaking of a question,
Yeah,
we have a
absolutely.
trivia question.
Yes, we do.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No.
Can you shoot it up there? Let's talk about it real quickly because we're already 15 minutes in.
Absolutely. Wow, that actually blew by, didn't it?
know.
All right, well, here we are. So, NFL draft coming up.
Yes.
We've focused on the tournament the past couple of weeks with our trivia question. We're going to
Absolutely.
shift gears a little bit here. So, here it is. Which U.S. city has never hosted the NFL draft? Ooh. Is it A, Milwaukee, B, Philadelphia, C, Detroit, or D, Nashville? So, I'll read it one more time. Which U.S. city has never hosted the NFL draft? A, Milwaukee, B, Philadelphia, C, Detroit, or D, Nashville?
Okay, and what do they have to do to win?
Answer the question.
By doing what?
By calling in.
And what's that number? 702
You are so much better with the number than me. Can I get a Post-it note, please? And that has nothing to do with the fan. I don't remember my own number. I'm a millennial.
702-329-6947. Press 1. By the way, the first caller to get it right will get a box from Pound for Pound of their samples of their gummies and gels and bombs, and soothing bombs, and the droplets that you can put in water. Pound for Pound. By the way, a couple of people from last Saturday, because they joined, got a couple of boxes being shipped
Yeah.
out on their way.
So get in on the action. Again, that's 702-329-6947.
Now you gave me the-
Rebound.
Yeah, rebounds
Yeah.
because you read the prompter. Okay.
Still counts,
Sorry,
baby.
let's go back to Cisco.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Cisco, obviously when it was announced that the Raiders were coming over here, a big part of the conversation, even long before production in the stadium got going and long before they kind of set foot and touched base here in Vegas, so much of that conversation was that we're not getting, unlike the Golden Knights, we're not getting an expansion team. We're getting a storied NFL franchise with one of the most famous fan bases in all of sports. How has that been for you coming into a new market and establishing footing for a fan base that has to basically get a reputation in a new city, but also carry over the reputation it had as a legendary family, I guess you could say?
It's different.
I
It's
bet.
very, very different. Being born and raised in the Bay, San Francisco to be exact, it's very, very different. I mean, it's somewhat different from San Francisco to Oakland as well.
Oh, wow.
It is. Yeah, it is. And then the transition from here, from the Bay, it's been very, very different. I just getting to know fans that are here and have been living here. A lot of them are LA-based Raider fans.
Right.
But the culture and just the vibe, there it was just it was more diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just speak, and I may be going ahead of our, the portion of that.
no
we're not
worries.
talking about
Have
the
at it.
whole, but
Yeah, we wanna hear it.
I just and again, I may be speaking prematurely because we haven't had a tailgate. The games and all that were shut down last year, as far as from a fan standpoint. But I can just speak for our tailgates, Black Hole tailgates. I mean, it was very, very, very diverse. You've seen everybody from Indian to Asian to Caucasian to African American to, I mean, you name it, Hispanic, Latino. It was just everybody under the sun, and it was great. So I'm excited to see what Vegas is going to offer the Raiders and the Raider Nation. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see. We're really waiting to see.
The buildup of not having anything happen at Allegiant Stadium in the
Yeah.
last year is just adding to the
And that's
Right.
and that makes
anticipation.
it so much harder because
Right.
it really is an exception. Like this deserves an asterisk. Any other case, you would have so much more of a head start. And that first year, where there obviously was major tensions, you had the Raiders on primetime games like Monday Night Football, where they're emphasizing and promoting the Death Star and Allegiant. And it really could have been big. Not to say it won't be big in
Right.
2021, but it could have been so much bigger. But that's, again, no fault of your own. So you also kind of had to deal with the cards you were play with the cards you were dealt, and you guys have done a really good job with that so far.
Absolutely. 702-329-6947. Press 1 to answer our trivia question, which is on the screen. Which U.S. city has never hosted the NFL Draft? Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Detroit, or Nashville? First caller to get it right wins a box from Pound for Pound CBD. Great health and wellness supplements for your body. All right, let's get into some topics. All right, we touched on it in our opening. Atlanta, a hotbed right now because of the Masters.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, Atlanta had the All-Star game removed.
Yep.
I think it's going to Colorado
Yep.
this year.
Yep. And they bounced.
Because of the new bill that was passed by the governor controlling, and I'll just use it as the word controlling, voting eligibility
Yeah.
or voting rights.
Voting
How do you
rights.
think that sits down there? I mean, as fans, you're a fan of the Braves.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to hosting your All-Star game, and then all of a sudden it's pulled out from under you when you had nothing to do with why the governor signed this bill. What's this all about?
It's one of those tricky things because if you're a local fan, yeah, it's going to be it's going to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
It is, but at the same time, as a whole, so much of what baseball fans, now again, there's two types of baseball fans. There's the baseball fan that really wants the game to be modernized so that gap can kind of be broken
Right.
down between the rest of the sports world and baseball, who is so based off tradition. And then you have just that, the traditionalist who doesn't want to change. It really just depends what cup of tea, what side of the line you stand on. But at the same time, when looking at a sport like baseball, we always are, holding their feet to the fire. The MLB, just at large. And we actually have a call coming in now.
We have a call coming in right now. Caller, thank you for calling Rise of the Fan. Your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is John Rankin. I'm calling from Las Vegas.
John, my buddy, how are you, sir?
Doing good. Just waking up. I'm sorry I missed thoughts count anywhere, but I'm going to go with
got a
answer number
fan.
C for the trivia answer.
Okay, so give it a shot. Which U.S. city has never hosted the NFL Draft? Let's hear what you got.
And he correct, just because he broke up a little bit, you said C, Detroit?
Yep,
Yep,
Detroit.
that's
Yep.
it.
Detroit is the correct
Detroit
answer.
is the correct answer. There you go.
Good job. See, you woke up just in time to win our trivia contest.
Top of the morning.
Excellent.
Listen good.
So the next question I have for you, John, are you a member of the Fan yet?
No.
You got to do that, bud. As a sports fan, we got to get you on to become a member. Go to jointhefan.com and click on Join the Fan, and all the information will be there. We'll look forward to that. Now, I need you to send me an email with all your pertinent shipping information so I can get a box sent to you, okay? I'm going to give you my email.
Okay.
Send me send it to ApplePirate@jointhefan.com.
All right, we'll do.
All right, bud. Thank you for listening, getting up in time to win. That's nothing better than
no
that.
problem,
Yeah.
guys. Have
Thanks.
a great day.
Thanks, John. You too,
Thanks for
bud.
the call, buddy.
All right, there you have it. Good job.
Yeah. You got
Nicely
on it.
done.
The
Got
power
right
of the
on.
internet,
Yeah,
baby.
I didn't hear his answer. It did break up.
No,
I didn't hear him answer.
And it would have been, how great would it have been if he changed it? It's like, never mind. It's like when you're on the Scantron when you erase and you get it wrong.
Got to be completely right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. No phone a friend on this game,
Absolutely.
folks. So good job. Thank you, John, for calling. And John does follow Thoughts Count anywhere, which is why he brought it up.
I was going to
So
say, you got a fan.
We got a fan.
And ultimately what we're
Yes.
going back to, in short, I think it's a real positive sign that baseball is doing something about, I guess you could say that them being so stagnant for so long, they're doing something to get the wheels turning, to get a little progress. At the same time, though, your question was asking about the local fans. What
Right.
happens if you're a fan of Atlanta who wanted to check this game out? The All-Star game compared to other sports in baseball, it's a big deal. You kind of put that in air quotes, but comparatively, it's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely
Right?
it is. You think
Maybe
about-
not what it once was with the home field advantage,
Yeah,
but still, it's a
it
big
brings revenue.
home run derby. It's a big thing during the summer at a time when
Yep.
the sports world's a little slow and before baseball gets going post All-Star break.
Right.
So I get it, but at the same time, it's about the sport at large, and this is for the betterment of the sport at large. Just like where golf, which is very much also a traditionalist sport, where the purists of that in that avenue tend to not want to move very much from where they have been for so long. Even though the Masters will never leave Augusta, the fact you have the head of the PGA and so many key players in the tour, the big names, the Rory McIlroys and the
Right.
Jordan Spieth of the world, commenting on it
Right.
and mentioning how this is an issue that needs to be addressed. We may not be leaving Georgia like baseball is, but we know this is a problem that is finally now being focused on
Right.
for the better. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, I guess is the expression. You kind of have to count your wins and count your blessings and not get ahead of yourself. But at the same time, realize this is something that never really happened in these sports prior. So
Right.
that's progress.
Well, we talk about the benefits and the cons of now Atlanta
Yeah.
losing it.
Yeah.
Imagine waking up, Cisco, and Vegas is going to host an all-star game, and for one reason or another gets pulled. It's costing Atlanta approximately $100 million in potential revenue.
Yeah.
And we all know what the country's gone through with the pandemic and the shutdown, and businesses getting hurt, and states' revenues completely, squashed for the last 12 months. $100 million is a big loss for a city, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of those local businesses
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
really taking it in the gut right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were anticipating
Yeah.
large crowds and
Yeah.
business. Oh wow, we can kind of step back into the norm, so to speak, pre-COVID. And
Right.
now they're probably, like you said, man, getting the rug taken right out.
Yeah,
from under.
and that's a big reason why they don't. There's many reasons. The fact that it's one of the most prestigious, the pageantry, the tradition is kind of what they use as their focal points for the Masters. But at the same time, Augusta, what they generate in revenue, that small town, from the tourism, from the visitors, from just the players themselves and their families and different people coming in, everyone involved with the tournament itself and the broadcast, that town makes so much money. So they're an example of one that's not going to be a casualty because they're still going to have their event, while Atlanta, even though it's a huge sports town that's going to have more Super Bowls and more All-Stars down the road, this is something they really could have used in the wake of COVID, where no one was making money, at least not, at the normal rate. So this could have been a money-making opportunity that would have provided a lot of publicity and a lot of just media hype for Atlanta, and that would have been great. But again, when you look at the conversation at large, and that's where the blur between sports and socio-political issues kind of starts to, and we haven't focused that much on it on the show, this is where it starts to become a factor. Because you have to say, what do you separate? Do you separate the fact that from a political standpoint, this is something very good, or do you emphasize the fact from a sport fan standpoint or a sport organization standpoint, it's not as good financially. So it's just one of those things. And that's why I hope if they address this the right way, not baseball, the state of Georgia, I guess you could say, again, that's a different conversation, that they would eventually come back to Atlanta for the All-Star game, much like they're doing to the draft. Right. Again, that was a much different reason. Vegas lost the NFL draft because of COVID, but what's happening? They're going to Cleveland because they have the contract to do so. They have to do that, and then they're going to flip the U-turn, basically, come full circle and come back to Vegas. I hope Atlanta eventually gets that All-Star game in the near future, but the time just doesn't work right now.
Right. Just for those who maybe have no idea what we're talking about, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed into law last week a sweeping Republican-sponsored bill that includes new restrictions on voting by mail and greater legislative control over how elections are run. The bill, which also prohibits volunteers from distributing food and water for voters waiting in line, was finalized on March 25th, roughly 15 miles from the Braves Stadium. The new voting law, which doesn't matter what it is, came in the wake of the first Democratic victories in presidential and Senate elections in Georgia in a generation, which triggered repeated unproven assertions by Donald Trump that the state's election was fraudulent. Supporters of the new law said it merely ensures election integrity and stamps out potential fraud, while critics have described it as a vote suppression tactic that would make it more difficult for minorities, particularly people of color, to vote, citing how it reduces ballot access in communities that lean Democrat, in urban communities. So, Major League Baseball. Now, do you think
that's important to clarify because
Right.
what you just said, kind of everything that we were just talking about before, if you didn't
Correct.
have context, that's important. You have to familiarize yourself with what's at stake here because it's
Correct.
much bigger than just sports.
So now it reads in there, preface to that Manfred was, quote unquote, pressured
Right.
to move. All the baseball teams are supporting it. President Barack Obama, because of Hank Aaron, to honor him, was
Yeah.
the whole thing. Former President Mr. Donald Trump, he says that baseball should be boycotted
Right.
because of this move. So you're going to have arguments on both ends of the aisle. So unfortunately, as you just mentioned, Cisco, the employees, the businesses, all those people around the park,
Yeah.
in this move, they are victims of losing that revenue to sustain the business. All right. We're going to leave this conversation at that point because we're at the top of the hour.
It'll be it'll be interesting to see how a week from now how this follows up. Because again,
Correct.
in terms of the political standpoint, it's going to take a while, but how the sports world reacts at large,
Correct.
there's going to be some opinions.
And as we get closer to the All-Star game, we know that's going to be heightened as well in the spotlight.
It'll be brought back up, no doubt.
All right, when we come back, we are at the top of the hour. We have a couple of messages from our great sponsors and partners. When we come back, we're going to put more of the spotlight on our guest, Mr. Cisco. We have to call him El Presidente.
Yeah.
El Presidente of the Black Hole.
Nailed the
Vegas
nailed the
chapter.
pronunciation.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because it wasn't Luis Tiant, or who was the El Presidente in baseball, the pitcher? I said Luis Tiant, but that's not him. He pitched for the Yankees. El Presidente. He was the two brothers.
Yeah.
We'll come up with it
Yeah.
after break. You're
It's gonna
watching
hit me
Rise
right
of
when we
the
go to
Fan-
break,
Of
too.
course. We'll be right back. P4P Therapeutics has created high-quality CBD products from 100% organic industrial hemp and are tested for purity and potency. Our products were specifically formulated with boxing champ Mikey Garcia in mind, as well as maximum benefit for recreational athletes and all consumers. From gummies and gel capsules to lemongrass soothe bombs to potent CBD oil tinctures, we have you covered. To see our entire line of available products, visit efpcbd.com and place your order today.
Boy, Mikey Garcia, reminding you, pound for pound CBD, all natural, effective.
It was 1988 when Wahoo's was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Mesa, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 6 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there's no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoo's. As if that wasn't enough, take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoos.com. All right, welcome back to Rise of the Fan Action Nation. JoinTheFan.com. Go to it. Click on Join the Fan. $59.99 gets you a lifetime membership to the greatest sports platform ever created to have our voices heard as fans, supporting the fandom on any level, whether you're a soccer mom or dad on up to a season ticket holder. Are you a season ticket holder for the Raiders?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you are a huge fan and you spend the money to go to their games. You might as well be. They ought to give you tickets probably for what you spend.
You know, a lot of people think that we're associated with the Raiders,
Which you're
and that
not.
we get, yeah.
And I think that's a lot of misconception with
Absolutely.
organizations you're affiliated with in general. Like
So
similar.
I want to put this in perspective for people. Of course, the Black Hole's been around for how many years? 40 years?
Well, now going on 26 years.
Oh, 20. I thought it was a little longer than that.
So
Okay.
did I, and I think, and I'm not. I guess because Raider fans have always been going back to the '70s with the guy in the Darth Vader outfit. Raider fans have always been so passionate. I think like even before it was named the Black Hole, you kind of felt it's always been around.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wayne Mabry, probably one of the more recognizable things, the Violator, who we've had on this show previously. Think about the Dog Pound in Cleveland as an example. The 12th Man in Seattle. Just some other examples.
We got Bob Golick up there. Looks
there
like
you
it.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look
It's
at that.
awesome.
There you go. See, how come you haven't done like the face paint and all that stuff? Like some.
He's like, he's like, I have a professional image. Yeah, my pawn.
I wouldn't say that. But Rob, who's right next to me, he's the global president and co-founder. Yeah, I mean, the as far as those guys went in the early days when they were in their 20s or when we were in our 20s, it was just 2 stripes of paint.
Right.
There you go.
On the
Keep it simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost kind of like
Like
baseball.
your
but,
right, like the eye black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's as far as we went. There was one guy in our group that dressed up, had a mask, and that was it. The rest
Right.
of us were just crazy, diehard Raider fans.
Now,
that
growing
caused
up, you're
havoc.
originally from that area, right?
Yeah.
So did you grow up being a Raiders fan
Yeah.
from the get-go?
Yeah.
Right from the get-go, you led black and gold.
Yeah,
Black and, black and gold,
I
black
have
and silver.
I have a picture. It's silver and black.
Okay, silver and black. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, not to correct you.
no,
but
no, no, that's fine. No, that's fine.
That's Raider terminology.
course.
A lot of football fans go, "Oh man, your
black and
uniforms are
silver."
the black and silver
No,
is
no, no,
great."
right.
Like, it's silver and black.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
There's like,
yeah.
and there's a ring to it, right? Kind of just
Oh,
flows.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Besides, Brett takes joy when I'm corrected, so you're fine.
It's like it's happened a couple times to him. It's like I'm
That's
gonna be
right.
driving home like ka-ching.
I got a long day behind a microphone. It's all good.
That is true. You're a lot busier than I am.
Anyway, so
sir.
you were born and raised a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
What was the first game you remember seeing as a fan?
Well, my parents took me when I was an infant, so I can't really recall my earliest moment that I can't say I remember, but that my mother told me after my father passed. Seeing me grow up to be a diehard fan, and in the 25 years of being a season ticket holder when the Raiders came back home to Oakland from LA, I bought season tickets, and from that point, I've only missed 4 home games in that 25
Wow.
years.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the
Two
way
of them were
you-
sick. I was sick, and 2 of them, one I took my son's mother when we were together, took her to, of all places, Vegas for her birthday, and I read the schedule wrong, and all my friends were like, "What? You're gonna miss a game?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Yeah, you are." I'm like,
It's
no.
like-
And we were playing Cleveland. And I said, no, I'm not. And they were like, I'm going to watch in the airport. I'm not going to miss the game. And they're like, meaning you're not coming. I said, it's an away game. They're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, what?
That's-
so I pulled out my
that's
wallet.
diehard.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a story,
and,
though.
And the first thing that I thought was, okay, is there any way that I could reschedule this without pissing her off? And I said, no, I better not. I better not. So that was my first mistake, and missed game, I should say, not mistake. Second was Kenny Shedd, former Raider, good friend of mine. We have a small film production company, and it's called AD Productions. And we were actually filming our second to last short film called Karma. Who actually had a small cameo in it was our kicker at the time, Sebastian Janikowski.
Oh, yeah.
And we were filming, and that was the game that we played the Broncos where Seawood, my guy, intercepted Peyton 2 times. And that was the game
Wow.
I missed of all
Of
games.
course.
Yeah.
Of all games.
Of
yeah.
course. That's
and we were
Murphy's Law.
filming, and
Yeah.
so I had to miss that game.
Of all,
but-
yeah, of course, it's Woodson and Manning, the 98 guys
98,
going at it. You gotta
that's
love
right.
it. And I love it. You know you're a true fan when you answer that question with, it goes so far back I don't even remember. Like when you know like my fandom goes to the point where my conscious memory wasn't around back then, you know you're the real deal.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So you were saying, getting
Yeah,
back to earliest
Yeah.
memory. So my mom told me, as growing up and seeing me become this dedicated Raider fan and diehard Raider fan, she was like, "Oh my God, you're just like your father." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "I remember a birthday. You were just a baby, a birthday, and he was glued to the TV, didn't participate, and I was so upset with him that he did not participate in your birthday." I was like, wow. So I'm hearing this as I'm growing up, right? And then I realized later the game that he was locked into TV was the playoff game, the Sea of Hands versus Miami.
Oh, wow. Dave Casper? Right?
No. Clarence Davis caught the winning touchdown in the end zone.
Right, yeah.
where-
No, yeah. Ghost of the Post is Dave Casper.
Yeah,
there
that
you
was
go.
against
There you
the
go.
Colts.
Yep. Yeah,
Bal-
exactly.
Then Baltimore Colts.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sea of Hands, what game, like round was that again? It was
I want to say, I think the first round of the playoffs, I believe.
Right. because that was when the and that was when the,
1974.
Yeah, that's when
it was my 4th birthday.
left and right, the Raiders, whether they were on the winning side or the losing side, were like a part of so many historical moments, from Ghost of the Post, Immaculate Reception, Sea of Hands, like what was it? Even
The
before
fumble.
the Heidi. There was the Heidi
game.
game. There was
game.
so much
Yeah.
going back even to the AFL 60s days. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Favorite Raider of all time?
Good question.
Oh, that's a tough
Or
one.
let me ask this one.
That's
As
a
you
really
think
good
about
one.
that, who's your Mount Rushmore of Raider players?
Oh, you know what?
So at least I can give them 4.
Yeah, that's
I
good
had
too,
this-
because there's
I
a
was on
lot.
I was on another podcast, and yeah, I had this. Gotta go with the Snake.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Gotta go with Jim Otto, the very first Oakland Raider drafted.
double zeros,
And
yeah.
respectable man, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
It's a toss-up between Howie and Tim Brown.
Okay,
I can't.
for like that the little more modern approach, right?
Yeah. And then I got to close it out again. I'm probably being biased because I'm leaving out greats like Tatum. And when you talk to the Raiders, they have so many
You go decade by decade,
legendary players
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's crazy. We're like right there with like,
Oh no,
with
without
the
question.
Yankees.
Yeah,
With players. Who's your favorite Yankee? People are going to go, oh, man. I mean,
yeah.
who
The
do I
Raiders
pick?
are on par with the Packers and the
Right.
Steelers and everybody else as far as the Hall of Famers and the Ring of Honor.
Right.
Individual players,
Absolutely.
they're up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so I gotta close it out and go modern. So I got Otto, Stabler, and then, like I said, Tim, and
Well, we'll
I
put-
gotta flip a coin for those two.
Yeah.
And then
We'll
I'll-
put them up in like two-face.
Yeah,
There
there
you
you
So
go.
we'll give
There
them
you
one
go.
head.
Yeah, or if you give them even more thought, we get like an offensive and defensive one.
There you go.
right, and then I'll close it out with my guy Seawood.
Okay.
All right. There
Yeah,
you go.
and with Seawood, you had 2 dominant stints too.
Yeah.
The guy came back and made it full circle and played at an insanely high level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we went on the air, you also mentioned that you follow sports that you actually played, which would include
Yeah.
what?
Well, baseball,
Okay.
not obviously in a college level or anything like
No,
that.
but sports you enjoy
Yeah,
participating
growing up, you're playing Little League Baseball, you're playing Pop Warner football,
Oh, yeah.
playing basketball. So, yeah, just games like that. I know I got to get into hockey. I do.
Well, when that's a requirement when you live
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
as
I
of
heard
3 years
well,
ago, right.
Let me tell you a story. Well, I'm coming from the Bay. If I was to throw on some night gear, I wouldn't sit too well
No, we got
once
San
I go
Jose
back
out there.
home.
Given the rivalry,
Yeah,
right?
and I'll tell you guys a brief little quick story. When I first moved here, I was needed to get a haircut. Obviously, that's got to do that, right? And the girl sat in her chair, and she had Knights stickers. She was a Knights season ticket holder. And, she was like, oh, so, this, I go, yeah, it's funny. I haven't paid for a haircut and God knows how long. My ex-wife and my good friend, they were all hairstylists. So I got a free haircut. So this is like, wow, I got to pay for a haircut. Wow, I got to go find a hairstylist and yada, yada.
Yeah.
And so small talk. Oh, yeah, I just moved here from, the Bay Area, this and that. And she's like, do you like hockey? I'm like, oh, okay. So you're not she just right out, just blew it out before I could even answer and said, but you're not a Sharks fan, right? I
Yep.
said,
Full disclosure.
honestly, I go, I don't watch hockey. I'm not into hockey. So I can't say I am or I'm not.
But it was a point of contention.
Yeah, she was like, okay, good
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
I'm like, because I would have walked out of there with a mohawk or a shaved head probably.
Well, here's the funny thing. I grew up in Jersey, so I had the Rangers, the Devils, the Islanders.
Yep.
I can't even really claim the Flyers because they were too far down south. Yeah. And I watched some hockey, and I really didn't watch it, quite frankly, until playoffs. I mean, there's so many games that you play. Until I came out here, that first season and even the second season, I watched more hockey than I ever have in all the years.
You had a
And-
reason to,
and a
right?
lot of people,
They
yeah.
came out strong right
Absolutely.
from the gate.
And we
So, I
needed-
mean,
this community needed it
Yeah,
that
I was
way
going to say
at the
that.
time.
I mean,
Without question.
So
exactly.
I want to ask this question before we go to our last break of the day. As a sports fan, and obviously a huge fan of the Raiders, of course, as a fan, though, without thinking about things on the field, as a fan, what's your number one concern that you wish management, whether it's the Raiders management or any of the sports that you follow, were able to take into consideration for you as a fan?
I would probably say more recognition, respect the fan base. I wouldn't say, we're not entitled to anything. They provide, a team for, to put on the field, an environment to watch the game, such as their stadium, which it's beautiful, by the way. But I would say, just show us a little bit more respect as fans.
In
Because
what
if
way?
it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have jobs.
You mean
I
it's in
totally agree.
recognition?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
Well-
again, not entitlement like we walk in, we own the place. Obviously, that.
Well, you kind of do when you're paying for those ticket prices.
Well, yeah, these ticket prices. That's it's
But
crazy.
what way? Elaborate on that. What would you listen when Allegiant finally opens to their first game, God willing, this upcoming season?
Yeah.
We've been talking on this show that the teams need to do something to welcome their fans back as a thank you, so to speak. As a fan, what would you like to see done to be recognized more as a fan? What would that encompass? Besides dropping prices.
Yeah, no, that would be lovely. Something being a Raider fan, I would say something that the Raider Nation would probably want would probably be, and this is just coming to the top of my head right now. Well, I know back home up in Napa, they would have practice open to the fans, and they would go different games, and they would open it up for not necessarily a meet and greet, but it was like a autograph session. You could
Okay.
walk to the front, and you could take pictures and get autographs from the players that would participate. I would say probably do something like that in waves, whether it's by sections
I like
or
that.
levels of the field, and in the off season. Obviously, let's focus. Let's get the team
Sure.
in gear. But in the off season, maybe they do some type of, I don't know, like a fan fest
That's a great
for
word.
season ticket holders,
Sure.
and they get to kind of like meet and greet with a few players. Maybe not the whole 50
Right, but a
roster,
select group,
but-
right.
Yeah, but a collective of the stars, so to speak.
Yeah,
You know?
who's going to draw attention? I love that because one thing I don't think and again, COVID had a lot to do with it, yes. And it was so rapid fire. It's like one moment they're in California in the Bay Area, next moment they're here. It's like blinking,
Right.
you miss them coming over.
Absolutely.
But one thing we've noticed in the first year with the Raiders here, it's like you forget that they're based in your own backyard. Sure, they play here on Sunday, but I think a lot of people are kind of under the idea that they're traveling in. It's like, no, they're living out here. They're raising families out here. They're becoming a part of the community in a way. And honestly, it wasn't until the Josh Jacobs, unfortunately, car accident in the airport tunnel that we almost were reminded they're out here. So I kind of like that being brought up. Remind fans that not only do we have a team, we have professional athletes living in our vicinity who are now a part of our community.
And before we go to break, but this is where the quarantine has hurt the Raiders to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When the night started, okay, they came to this community at the right time to help us come back together
They
after
were
1
thrown
October.
out there, yeah.
And so they did all the community service things
Yeah.
that needed to be done to be heard. Aside from recognizing everybody at the first home game and raising the number 58, they were out in the community. Now, the Raiders unfortunately didn't have that because there was no season.
Right.
Now, they did, however, they started off in the right way. They donated a brand new field to one of the high schools here, Rancho High School. They
Yeah.
donated an entire field, and they've been doing things. But then 10 players were at some banquet last year, right? And what did they get talked about? The fact that they showed up without wearing masks,
Yeah.
and some of those players, including David Carr, and some of those players ended up going on the
Derek.
COVID list.
Derek.
Yeah,
I mean, Derek. David Carr was my guy.
The Raiders fans probably got to be.
No, sorry. Well, David Carr was my
Yeah, no.
quarterback who sat on the bench for 3 years and did nothing. But,
Right.
But anyway, but you,
Solid backup to Eli Manning.
yeah,
There you
that's
go.
true.
Right,
That's true.
yeah.
Never played, didn't need to, thank God. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? The Raiders had that opportunity, and they were doing the positive steps, and then they stepped back because of that COVID issue.
Right.
Not having a season to be visible, to do those things ahead like the Knights did, I think has hurt what you just brought up to make the community realize there are Raiders that live here.
And I think they'll be fine. They just it's as we've been alluding to, as Cisco even mentioned, how it's going to get going because you have that culture. It's just that it was a little stagnant because of the pause with
Absolutely.
the pandemic. So it's not laziness or it's not like a lack of proactivity. It's just the cards you were dealt with. Next year you'll have an opportunity to really solidify yourself.
Well, the one great memento that season ticket holders have for last season is that great season ticket box that got shipped to them, looking like the stadium.
my God, oh, yeah.
That
Right?
thing was-
All right, before we get ready,
Yeah.
take us to Squid Cups before we play our last
Absolutely.
commercial break here.
So wouldn't it be awesome to never spill a drink again? We thought so too. That's why we developed the non-tipping magnetic Squid Cup system. It creates a cup holder when you need it using the power and simplicity of dual magnets and micro suction cups. Whether you are on the water or road, too few or too shallow cup holders will never be a problem for you again. The Squid Cup system features a 16-ounce double-wall insulated tumbler and an insulating 12-ounce can cooler. You can visit squidcup.com to order.
And now, Wahoo's. It was 1988 when Wahoo's was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Mesa, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 6 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there's no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoo's. As if that wasn't enough, take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoos.com. All right, welcome back to Rise of the Fan. We're down to 12 minutes already, man. We are winding down the show. We want to thank a great guest today, Cisco Ortega. He's the president of the local chapter of the Black Hole. Real quickly, how many chapters are there around the country?
Roughly about 35.
Okay. You have a question,
5 of
and
them
then
are international.
Yeah.
you have a question, and then
Absolutely.
a little birdie told me that there's a little draft party going on that we should talk about. So go ahead, fire away.
So obviously the Black Hole is a fan base that is very popular, immensely. It's one that you just mentioned and you immediately identify the Raiders, the Silver and the Black, the Hall of Famers, Al Davis, John Madden, et cetera, et cetera. But coming over, and again, even when they left Oakland, they had such a strong, and I know that was a controversial move, but they had such a strong contingent in LA. So you're in the Bay Area, you're in Southern California. Either way, you never leave California. Now you come to a place that is in the same region, but it's a different state, different city entirely. And it's interesting because Vegas is in a period where you have this exodus from California in general happening, where we have so much of that LA population coming over here. So my question for you, Cisco, is when you found out that it was going to be Vegas, and again, that was rumored for quite some time, how did you feel about it given the culture and even the stigma at times surrounding Vegas? You know, the Raiders kind of have this us against the world, renegade, we're the bad guy type of mentality, which is why they have resonated with the fans and why they've always found a place in NFL lore, whether you want to root for them or root against them. Coming over to a town with an edge like Vegas, do you think that will, obviously you'll never have what you had in Oakland, at least not for a long time, but do you think you'll be able to keep that reputation in Vegas, or do you think as time goes on, it'll dwindle and you won't necessarily be the same Raiders?
Very good question. When the news broke that the team was going to move and relocate and Vegas was going to be their new home, yeah, it hurt. I'm not going to lie. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt bad. I don't know if you've seen our E60 segment on the Black Hole.
That's
and
great.
yeah, I mean, there was so much they cut out because they only had so many minutes to edit everything together. But we all elaborated how, we pretty much grew up. I was in my young 20s when they came back and got season tickets, just a young whippersnapper, and they left. I was in my late 40s, so kind of grew. And during that time, you meet and have great relationships with these people, and they have kids, and you see their kids grow, and just everything, and for all that to go away. And that's what, like Gorilla and Violator and Senor, when we're together, and Rob, the co-founder, and, just all our Black Hole brothers and sisters, that knowing that we weren't going to have that anymore, that's what, honestly, I think what hurt the most. We were always going to be Raider fans. We knew we were going to go to games. We were going to root for our team. It wasn't going to be in our backyard any longer. However, just that camaraderie and the memories are going to be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, the memories will always be there, but
now you make new ones.
Those moments,
Right.
aren't going to be there anymore.
And that's what's sometimes scary about a change of scenery, because you have the opportunity to make more new memories, but you don't want to abandon the old ones, like you just said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But you also have it. Now you moved here, right? You live here now?
My company, I relocated here with a company.
And how long have you lived here now in town?
I moved August 29th, 2019.
Okay, so you're
Almost
not
Going on 2 years?
Yeah, you're
Going
not a
on two.
newbie per se, but there are a lot of people that are probably moving here because the Raiders have moved here.
quite a few.
One huge advantage, besides following their team, better taxes here.
Yeah, and that's a
Right.
big reason why we talk about that exodus. That pilgrimage
it.
is very much rooted in the taxes.
Now, rumor has it with the draft coming up in a couple of weeks, some little birdie told me that the Black Hole Group here in Vegas is having a draft party. Why don't you share some news about that?
Yeah, well, it's not our group. It's us, Black Hole in general. We're going to try and capitalize. We're still putting the pieces together. But our Saturday night will be our big event, and there'll be some save the date flyers being posted any day now. But yeah, we're going to have a nice little party. We're planning on having some former Raiders there.
Awesome.
Corona is the official cerveza of the Black Hole, so our Constellation brands folks will be there. They're going to do it up. Our friends at the Westgate Hotel, that's where we're going to have it. Our guys, Senor Raider Man, Violator, and Gorilla will be there as well.
Oh, Violator's coming out.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're and we got a few surprises that I can't say yet, but so we're planning on that, and we're excited. And it's going to be our official, and this is where I guess kind of I come into the play.
Yeah.
It's going to be our official Vegas chapter launch party that Saturday.
That'll be big then.
Yeah.
What time are you anticipating that to start?
We're working on that now.
It's the last weekend of the month, right?
Yes.
Is the draft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually will be May 1st, Saturday, May 1st. The draft starts Thursday the 29th.
Oh, okay.
30th, and then May 1st.
Because it carries on, because it's a multiple day
Right.
thing. Right.
I thought it was the last weekend, but I that's cool. Reason I'm thinking ahead, and if Andy's listening, I hope he's okay with this, which I'm sure he will. Depending upon the time things start for you on Saturday, maybe we get you and the Violator back in studio to talk about the draft a little bit. Depending on your time. I mean, I don't know. Or maybe we do a little call-in thing, a little video thing with you guys from where you're at, perhaps, something like
Anything
that.
to touch base, because plus what you guys have going on, that's so big, because, again, last year, even if you did have something like this, you didn't have a draft. You had a draft, but it was a TV. It was a TV. It was a TV.
It was a Zoom thing.
It was a TV broadcast at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We're truly returning to what the draft actually is, and I think being able to do that will give you guys some traction that you
Right.
wouldn't have last year, even if you were able to do this.
Absolutely. Great point. And that'll be huge. You a wrestling fan at all?
No.
How did he get on the show? This weekend is WrestleMania. This is a Super Bowl of pro wrestling. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Brett and I are huge wrestling fans. And over here on this little laptop thing here, Aaron, before the show started, brought up the WWE feed. So I'm actually watching the bump over here on this side. I can't hear anything. I can't see the chat room. The chat room is like this big for me.
But you're getting in the
But
zone.
I'm seeing faces. So real quickly, I want to ask you, before we say goodbye, give me some quick WrestleMania predictions for this weekend. Who's gonna win the men's title? Let's see, Lashley and McIntyre.
I think McIntyre will do it. I could see where maybe because they like Lashley, but I just don't think McIntyre, again, in recent years, the whole heel face thing, who wins, it's not as important as it once was.
Right.
But I still think after what McIntyre did last year with the Rumble and beating Lesnar, I think we're going to have another year where I think we have something special with them. I think they're going to put the strap on him.
Well, WWE changed them from being the main event. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair is now the main.
For night one?
For night one, they're going to be the first match. And not Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre will be the first one to walk out of that curtain.
Yeah.
To get the pop.
Yep.
And if he wins, he'll get the second pop.
Yes.
Well deserved for him.
And he's over as it is.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go to the triple threat the second night. Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Edge.
I can't wait for this match. I'm honest, I think it may be Roman. Because for the opposite of what I just said, I think Drew is something that they're going to say, this is our heel, or this is our face.
Right.
Where Roman, they're going to really want to continue to emphasize this is our heel.
Right.
So for the same reason why I think Drew's going to win is why I also think Roman's going to win. And I think we may even see at some point in the near future another McIntyre, Roman, Reigns type of blow-off. I think it's possible.
Last match I want to ask you about, and then we'll wrap up going back to the website. Asuka, Rhea Ripley. And then you have Sasha Banks and Belair.
I like Asuka better, but I think Rhea Ripley's going to win. I think they're going to book her to win. And I think Belair will win. Belair's my favorite. Belair may be my favorite athlete in the whole damn industry. She's incredible.
You have agreed with everything we talked about an hour ago. So
there you go.
Oh, by the way,
and I'll be next week.
I was just going to say,
go.
on Thoughts Count Anywhere, Brett is going to be our special ring announcer. So we'll have a crossover between Rise of the Fan and Thoughts Count Anywhere.
And quick question before we get out of here. Ever since because 4 or 5 years ago when they were in Dallas is when that card got really, really long. It went from like a 3.5, 4 hour thing to like a 5.5 hour ordeal.
Right.
And then last year they moved it to 2 nights. A lot of that having to do
Which happened because of
with
COVID.
But
Right.
now they kind of lucked into it to where they realized this kind of worked based off of last year.
And getting about 25,000 fans each night.
What do you think about continuing with the 2-night like festivity type of thing, given how many matches are on the card? Do you like it better?
I do, because you're right. Last year was like 8 hours on WrestleMania Day. I think they're doing, 6 or 7 matches per night?
Yeah, and they split it.
And it's only a 3-hour show.
Yeah, as opposed to one 6.5-hour broadcast.
It's going to be on
2,
Peacock exclusively starting 5 p.m. local time. I like it this way. I think you can focus on each night. The downside for planning, though, WWE has a habit, and this is what's bad about ticket buyers, is you don't know necessarily who's on what night, and if you could only afford to go one night.
Not until way late, because they build it up over March, so by mid-March is usually when you find out.
So if you're a fan of one particular wrestler or particular match, and you can only afford to go to one of the 2 nights, you're waiting to the last second to make your ticket purchase. That's the only downside for planning that I don't like about it. Listen, WrestleMania ever comes to Vegas or Allegiant Stadium,
and it will.
And I'm going to figure out a way to get there. Yeah. So that's a different story. But I like the 2-night format. It makes it a little bit easier to watch. No pre-show. Well, they're doing a pre-show, but no matches.
No,
because they're saving the pop for the first person that walks out tonight, and guaranteed that will be Drew McIntyre.
To get off on the right track.
Absolutely.
Cisco's thinking, get me the hell out
of here.
I know,
but that's okay. We appreciate it. Listen, the Violator and those guys you mentioned, they'd make great wrestling characters. That's for darn sure.
The Raiders Black Hole looks like something out of like a 1980s or even just a 90s wrestling crowd.
Cisco, I'd have to agree with you.
Cisco Ortega, president of the Black Hole chapter here in Las Vegas, planning a draft party, which will be the official launch. More details to follow. Thank you for coming in.
Great
appreciate
stuff.
it.
Thank you guys.
All right,
Appreciate
quickly,
it.
let's go to Join the Fan website if you don't mind. Become a member today. Become part of the continuing growth of the revolution. $59.99, folks. That's it. One time. Get you a lifetime membership plus 15% off in our merchandise store, where you can get shirts and hats like we are wearing, and many other things like masks and phone covers and the whole shebang. If you want to try it out, dip your toe in the shallow end, $19.99 per month for the Rebel. You get 10% off as well in the fan shop. But folks, if you are a sports fan on any level, you must become part of the revolution now to take advantage of the great opportunities that the Fan Action Nation will bring to the fan universe. All right, with that, final thoughts as we say goodbye, Mr. Brett.
Great stuff, Cisco. Like I said, April's one of the best sports months of the year, and this weekend's another reason why. Enjoy WrestleMania, my friend.
You betcha. I'll be there late because I have a radio interview at 5 o'clock. But
you never stop working.
My buddy and my wife will be watching night one for me and sending me updates until I get home.
There you go.
All right, I'm Aaron Phillips. 30 minutes from now, Neil Portnoy and I will be here at the desk. Twin brothers from different mothers. And we have guests of music descent. Steph and Rock join us. As always, be kind to everybody. Why is that? We always have. From all of us here at Rise of the Fan, have a great week. We'll see you next week right here on Go Live Vegas.